Please don't blow up. Oh, thank God. Finally back! So I wanted to make this video because there really isn't a whole lot of information out there regarding this AIB, and with the current state of the GPU market, it really sucks trying to find a quality video card that's not selling close to or a little under $1,000. So here's my initial impressions on the Maxsun RTX 3060ti iCraft OC. This is a Chinese AIB, so take that for what you will. And there really isn't a lot of information regarding this AIB online when it comes to reviews. So the only way to find out if they were legit was to buy it, and because I desperately needed a GPU. Let's talk about price first, because that's the biggest factor for a lot of people. I got this card brand new for about $690 or 35,000 pesos on Lazada, which puts it below Colorful's 3060 OC in terms of pricing. That's the 3060 version, not the 3060 Ti, which again, as much as I enjoy calling out the official nvidia store on social media, stop behaving like scalpers, dipshits. Maxsun definitely comes out of this with a much better value proposition, but it's still way above MSRP. And I ended up paying close to $300 more for this card. If you ask me, it's really not worth it. I mean, let's face it, no card on the market is worth it right now. But if you really need a 30 series GPU right now and you want to skip the rest of the video, get this card. If you're still here, great, now let's get on with the rest of the video. At first glance, this card is huge. It barely fits inside my NR200 case. Granted, it comes with a giant heatsink and 3 fans. When we take a closer look at the card itself, you'll notice that part of the card is a heatsink, which is great because in theory, this card should stay pretty cool, right? We'll get to that in the benchmarks. This card also comes with Maxsun's SIP power supply system, and I haven't got the slightest clue as to what that stands for. And according to their description, it supposedly manages the power supply to the card and can pull more power from the power supply. As to how they do that with just one 8-pin connector, I haven't got the slightest idea, but maybe someone smarter than me does. Now, their site lists this model as having 2 8-pin connectors instead of 1, which we got here. So is this a problem? Not really. I'm sure most of us are okay with just stock performance and won't really need to touch the OC features of this card. But it is there if you ever want to push what this card can do, which surprisingly is a lot. Now, one thing that I did notice with this card is it has these black pins that have nothing attached to it. If you know what it's for, please sound off in the comments. Now, this card does come with RGB lighting, just not the fans. It has RGB lighting on the backplate too, but honestly, inside the NR200 with the radiator, you won't even see it. And you have no control over the RGB anyways. Aside from that, it comes with your standard flare of 3 display ports and an HDMI port, so let's get testing. I'm running a Ryzen 3700X with 32 gigs of 3600 RAM in dual channel mode and an NVMe SSD at 1080p. We're gonna go through this pretty quick, so just pause the video to see the results. Let's start off with Horizon Zero Dawn. We're comfortably averaging between 80 to 90 frames at ultra settings. Next up is Valheim. We're playing on max settings here, but trying to get an accurate reading on this game is near impossible because the GPU clocks higher near oceans and drops when far away from it, which is great because the game doesn't draw more power than it needs to and isn't at 100% all the time. But if you built a robot, a tank, and a space shuttle right next to each other, or a spaceship, expect the frame rate to dip substantially. Now, is this card a legit RTX 3060 Ti? Guess we'll find out with the next game. Oh, thank God it has the options for ray tracing and DLSS. For our esports title, more like a dead esport, we'll be using Heroes of the Storm. May you forever rest in peace. But as expected with esports titles, you can expect pretty high frame rates. But can it run Skyrim with over 190 mods and an ENB? I'd say pretty comfortably, yeah. The frame rate dips during combat and when I'm in a modded land or area, but other than that, getting 50 to 60 FPS in this game with ENB and a ton of mod is already a feat unto itself. As with temps, it hovers around 60 degrees Celsius. That large heatsink and the triple fan setup are definitely doing some work to keep the card cool. Granted, the room this computer is in is not air conditioned at all and we're in a tropical climate. With that being said, if you're coming from the 1060 Max-Q or 1660 generation of graphics cards and you really need a GPU right now, get this if it's available in your region. Now, am I gonna make more videos like this? Nope, because I can't afford it. I just wanted to make this video because there's not a whole lot of information in English regarding this AIB and their cards. But as always, thanks for watching, you've been awesome.